Πάμε. Before. Have you played this? Γιατί ρωτάς? Όχι, δεν έχω παίξει. Γιατί ρωτάς? Until the computer is barely visible. Κοίτα, εγώ θέλω λίγο έξτρα φως. Barely το βλέπω, ας πούμε. Τι ώρα είναι? 9, άρα το 9 είναι 11, 21 είναι. Το βάζω έτσι. Και 34. 30, θα βάλω 35 και είναι PM. PM είναι μετά μεσημβρίας. Ωραία, σωστά. Accessibility settings can be accessed from the main. Οκ. Και 34 το ξέρω, το έβαλα ένα λεπτό μπροστά. Settings θέλουμε. Πάμε, ρώτησε. Τα έχει υπολογίσει όλα, το εμπιστεύουμε. Back. Ό,τι είναι. Πάμε. Πάμε. Ήθελα τόσο καιρό.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Εγώ είμαι ο Stanley. Φαντάζομαι.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Μισό sensitivity. Νομίζω είναι εντάξει. Όχι, δεν είναι εντάξει. Είμαστε λίγο γρήγορα. Sensitivity. 4. Καλύτερα. Τρία.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Δεν μπορώ να μπω πουθενά. Περπατάω πάρα πολύ γρήγορα. Δεν το συνηθίζουν αυτό τα games να περπατάς τόσο γρήγορα.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Και εδώ ξεκινάει το game. Αυτό που ξέρω για το game είναι ότι θα έχουμε έναν αφηγητή και θα μπορώ να ακολουθώ αυτά που λέει ή να κάνω ό,τι θέλω και να το πηγαίνω κόντρα. Είπε left. Τώρα εγώ, συγγνώμη, να μην πάω right. Να μην κάνω αυτό που θέλω.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Έχεις και το DLC, δεν ήξερα ότι έχει DLC. Όχι, δεν το έχω.
Yeah,
Άρα
but
μπορεί να
eager
το
to get
χτίσω.
back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Θα κάνω ό,τι μου λέει το αντίθετο.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Wow, μη ρωνεύετε. Μη ρωνεύετε. Dr. Deathman, hi. Ωραία, πάμε. Θα συνεχίσω να κάνω τα ανάποδα γιατί πέτανα πολύ νωρίς.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Θα πάω από εδώ.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Α, το έλεγε. Και πάλι θα πήγα να δω τι θα γίνει. Ναι, και πάλι θα το δοκίμαζα.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten.
Κάτι είχε εκεί, να επιδείξω.
Stop trying to make every decision. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Τον εμπιστευόμαστε. Θα κάνουμε αυτά που μας λέει ή όχι. Λέει θέλει να αποδείξει ότι θέλει το καλό μας. Δεν ξέρω αν τον πιστεύω. Έχει items στο game να πάρω ή μόνο περπατάω. Να ψάχνω. Ναι, αλλά με κλείδωσες εδώ πέρα, κυρία φοιτητή.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Μπορώ να πω εδώ.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Όχι, εσύ δεν κατάλαβες.
I still don't think we're communicating properly.
Stanley
walked through the red door.
Έχει μπλε πίσω μου.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Ναι.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Εδώ είναι το μέρος που ήμασταν και μας είπε να πάμε αριστερά και εγώ πήγα δεξιά και τώρα μου έδωσε την πόρτα. Αυτός τώρα θέλει να πάω εδώ. Τι να κάνω. Δεν θα πάω εκεί που μου άνοιξε, αλλά βέβαια δεν την είχαμε αυτή την πόρτα, είναι καινούργια και θα ήθελα να πάω. Αλλά επειδή αυτός θέλει να πάω εκεί, εγώ δεν θέλω να πάω εκεί. Ναι, αλλά θέλω να πάω εκεί. Τσατ. Πού να πάω. Α, θα σκάσω! Θα πάω... Όχι, θα πάω εδώ.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
Ναι.
Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Ναι.
Aha!
Ναι.
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Τηλεμεταφέρθηκα. Leaderboard. Τι? Άσε πόση ώρα τερματίσανε. Τι κάνανε οι άλλοι. Τι χακάρανε. Ωραία, τώρα δεν μου είπε να πάω εδώ, οπότε θα πάω εδώ.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Δεν με ένιωξε και πολύ, οπότε θα πω...
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Θα τα αφήσω να καεί.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Πόσο φανταστικό.
Aha, fascinating.
Το ξέρω, αλλά δεν το έχω παίξει.
This game is about, Stanley. What's our backstory?
Που κοιτάς για φωτιές. Κάτι τέτοιο.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Ποτέ δεν ήξερα πώς φτιάχνεται αυτό.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Τι φανταστικό game είναι αυτό. Μπορούμε να την αχτούμε. Περιμένετε, θέλω να δω αν μπορώ να τον αντινάξω. Μπορώ να βάλω φωτιά σε όλο το δάσος. Μισό λεπτάκι, πρέπει να το δω αυτό. Όχι. Ήθελα να δω αν μπορώ. Πες μου την παιχνιδάρα, πραγματικά, πόσο παίζω, 5-10 λεπτά, έχω τρελαθεί ήδη. Το βλέπω να γίνεται ένα από τα αγαπημένα μου games ever.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Τι?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Όχι!
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
Okay.
You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any...
Ναι, η αλήθεια είναι και εγώ ταράζομαι. Θέλω να μου δίνουν δρόμο να πηγαίνω αφηγητή. Θα συμφωνήσουμε για πρώτη φορά.
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable
Ναι, συμφωνώ. Πάμε αλλού. Ναι, πήγαινε αλλού.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Είναι σαν το Rocket League. Ναι.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
Δεν έχω ιδέα.
There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must.
Που λέει αυτός να πάει να βάλει ένα γκολ.
Here's the ball. Have fun.
Πού θέλουμε να βάλουμε γκολ, στο πορτοκαλί ή στο μπλε? Πάω να βάλω στο μπλε. Ναι, γράφει Rocket League.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought.
Wow,
and I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Hold on. What are you doing?
Πέφτω μέσα στην τρύπα.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Ρε, τι παιχνιδάρα είναι αυτή. Ωραία. Είναι λαβύρινθος. Δεν ξεχαίρεις τον τοίχο. Έχω φακό. Δεν έχω φακό. Ρε. Ρε, τι... Τι φανταστικό game είναι αυτό! Μπορώ να μπω εδώ? Όχι. Νομίζω ότι παίζαμε Rocket League, όχι. Σε ξεγελάσαμε. Σε ξεγελάσαμε. Ωραία, μου λείπει ο αφηγητής τώρα. Αφηγητή, μίλα μου! Έχω μείνει μόνη και δεν έχω να ενοχλώ κανέναν!
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's got it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes.
Yes, the Stanley Parable.
Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon.
Και είναι game επιλογές, έτσι...
I can wait.
Δεν μπορώ να το περιγράψω. Περιγράψω το κάποιος αν μπορεί. Σκοτάδι. Στην αρχή είμαστε, ναι. Έχω παίξει πόσο να έχω παίξει. Μισή ώρα, 20 λεπτά. Α, έχασα και εκεί, παγιδεύτηκα. Λοιπόν, ξεκινάμε αυτό το γραφείο και πάμε εδώ πέρα και μας μιλάει ο αφηγητής και μας δίνει οδηγίες για το τι να κάνουμε. Και έχω την επιλογή να τον ακολουθήσω ή να κάνω ό,τι θέλω. Και μαντέψτε τι κάνω. Παναγιώτη, χαϊ. Ακούστε, δεν τον ακολουθώ.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Θα κάνω ακριβώς το ίδιο ότι έκανα, αλλά θα πάω στην κόκκινη πόρτα. Πάμε να δούμε τι θα γίνει. Εκεί που έλεγε ότι να με εμπιστευτείς.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Εγώ θα πάω right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Έπαιζε μπάλα στην εθνική, έλα ρε, και τι έγινε, το πάτησε νταλίκα. Μου πήρε λίγη ώρα να το διαβάσω. Τώρα αυτός μου λέει να μπω εδώ, να το διαβάσω, να το καταλάβω, αλλά καλό. Μου λέει να πάω εδώ, εγώ μαντέψτε, δεν θα πάω εδώ. Θα πάω εδώ.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Και εδώ, κανονικά με πάει εκεί πάνω. Και εγώ θα πάω εδώ.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Ωραία, και εδώ πέρα μας είχε πει να πάμε στην κόκκινη πόρτα.
Now
δεν τον
listen
άκουσα.
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Συγγνώμη, εδώ που με έφερε είναι γύρω-γύρω όλοι. Α, και απ' την άλλη τι έχει. Ακραίο το game. Το game είναι μάλλον από τα αγαπημένα μου games. Εδώ τι έχει.
What do we want?
Which soft?
What are we looking for?
Hello. Γιατί πάω στραβά.
Here.
Εξωγύρι!
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Από εδώ ήρθα. Κύριε αφηγητή, ζαλίζομαι. Μπορώ να πάω πίσω. Α, όχι, δεν ήρθα από εδώ.
Wait, where are you going?
Ζαλιζόμουν και δεν μου άρεσε.
Oh no, stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Είχε κάτι εκεί να κάνω. Δεν είχε εκεί πέρα τίποτα, έτσι δεν είναι. Αν πέσω, λέω, από τη σκάλα, δεν μπορώ να επιδείξω πώς θα πέσω.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a... No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Δεν έχω άλλον δρόμο, κύριε αφηγητή μου.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Αφού Αφού δεν έχει άλλο δρόμο και εκεί δεν είχε να κάνω τίποτα.
Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Ρε, τον έκανα σαν τον αφηγητή. Δεν πεθαίνει.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Ωραία, να πάω εκεί να δω τι έχει. Γιατί τον έκανα σαν και στεναχωρήθηκα. Γιατί περπατάω τόσο αργά ξαφνικά. Α, γιατί έχω σπάσει τα κόκαλά μου, λογικό.
Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Το δεύτερο. Καλέ, ωραία είναι εδώ, λίγο ζαλίζομαι βέβαια.
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Μπορώ να πέσω από εδώ. Όχι, δεν με αφήνει. Αφηγητή μου, δεν μπορούμε να μείνουμε εδώ πέρα, να σου πω κάτι. Ξέρω ότι σ' αρέσει. Δεν μπορούμε να μείνουμε εδώ. Άσε που περπατάω σαν κότα, έχω σπάσει όλα μου τα κόκαλα. Καλύτερα να κάνουμε restart. Δεν νομίζεις? Να ακούω τον αφηγητή μου. Όχι. Όχι. Τόσο αργά που περπατάω, μάλλον άλλη μία είμαι και θα... Τον στεναχώρησα όμως, δεν μου μιλάει καν τώρα. Οπότε από την κόκκινη πόρτα θα ξαναπάς? Όχι.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Μας έπρεπε να τον εμπιστευτούμε και μας πήγε κάπου εκεί με τα λαμπάκια που ήταν αδιέξοδος. Τι να εμπιστευτούμε, κύριε αφηγητή? Ωραία,
All
τώρα
of his
τρέχω πάλι.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nah. Από εδώ.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ωραία.
Look,
Δεν θα
Stanley,
πηδήξω
I
στην
think
γέφυρα.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Θα συνεχίσω όμως
I'm
να
not
κάνω
sure.
όλα τα αντίθετα.
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
Hi,
else can be
Tana.
difficult, but the fact
Όχι, εγώ
is
δεν το
that
έχω
the story
ξαναπαίξει.
has
Αλλά
been
είναι πιο
about
παλιό game,
nothing
οπότε
but
μπορεί να το
you
έχεις δει από κάπου αλλού.
all this time. There's someone you've been
Τα παιδιά
neglecting,
είπαν το έχουν δει από τον Σόμπο, Καΐλα, εσύ τι είπα
someone
πριν.
you've forgotten about.
Το έχουν παίξει πολύ βασικά.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Για ποια?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Ποια? Έχω κοπέλα. Γιατί με κλειδώνεις, αφηγητή, όπου και να πάω?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Μήπως δεν έπρεπε να το σηκώσω? Megatron, hi, hi, hi.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? They'd want to commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Πάλι θα πεθάνουμε. Πόσες φορές έχω πεθάνει μέχρι τώρα? Πρέπει να μετράμε. Keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
5-6 σίγουρα μόνο έχω κάνει ήδη. 1, 2, 3 έχω κάνει σίγουρα.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Μπορώ να κάνω κάτι άλλο από αυτό που μου λέει να πατάω, όχι.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of
Άλλο
new
κουμπί!
lands.
Πολύ καλή ιδέα, θα πατήσω άλλο
And
κουμπί.
each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Το πιστεύω ότι θα πάταγα χ από μόνη μου τώρα. Θα πατήσω E. Όχι, δεν με αφήνει.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Όλοι
The
αυτό σκεφτόμασταν να δουλεύω
excited him
έτσι. Να
terribly.
εξαφανιστούν όλοι τώρα.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ο Θάνος, εγώ κάπου το έχω δει αυτό το παιχνίδι, αλλά δεν το έχω δει, ούτε το έχω παίξει.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Τώρα θα το πατήσω.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Οπότε όταν δεν τον ακούμε, πεθαίνω κατευθείαν. Αρκετά γρήγορα τέλος πάντων.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Μισό λεπτάκι. Είμαστε ξανά από την αρχή. Είναι... Πάω δεξιά. Δεξιά τα έχουμε δει όλα. Έχω μπερδευτεί. Αν ξαναπάω από εδώ θα είναι τα ίδια.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Ναι.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly love. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Όχι, θα πάω εδώ.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Έχω άλλη επιλογή.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
Wow.
It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Ναι, με την ησυχία σου, μην αγχώνεσαι. Δεν θέλω να μου πιέζεσαι.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Έχω άλλη επιλογή, όχι. Οκ, σκοτίνιασε.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Spoiler!
Okay. We just have to get back to, who am
Με
I
τραβάνε
kidding?
τα spoilers.
It's all rubbish now.
Είναι
The
το
whole
πεπρωμένο
story
μου.
completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Ξανά.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
spoiler
room.
αυτό.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Ναι, αλλά έχω σου χαλάω το story.
I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
Έχω τόσες επιλογές.
The story.
Από εδώ θα πάω. Backrooms! Δεξί χέρι στον τοίχο. Κάνω κύκλους. Βγήκα από εδώ. Ωραία, πάμε από εδώ. Δεξί χέρι στον τοίχο.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again. But it's got to be better than this.
Όχι.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Όχι.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Είναι φανταστικό!
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this
Είδες,
wrong.
σου
It's
είπα.
possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Όλα στην θέση τους μου φαίνονται, κύριε αφηγητή. Δεν βλέπω κάτι.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Τι?
The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Αφηγητή, χάθηκα.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
Όχι.
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
Ναι,
Well, do you know
ήμασταν...
what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Thank you.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
Και μη μου παίρνεις την νίκη πίσω, άξιζα
I'm
και
getting weirded
κέρδισα με
out
το
by
σπαθί
whatever
μου.
this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Δεν θα ακολουθήσω την γραμμή. Αν και θέλω πάρα πολύ, γιατί από εκεί δεν έχουμε ξαναπάει. Δεν θα ακολουθήσω την γραμμή όμως.
No,
εδώ δεν
I'm
έχει
done. We're
τίποτα.
leaving it up to the line from now on.
Αναγκαστικά. Αναγκαστικά.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a
Από εδώ
thought.
τι έχει.
Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa.
Δεν
Hang
κατάλαβα
on.
τίποτα.
That
Να
got
σου
a
πω
bit
την
weird
αλήθεια.
back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Από εδώ τι έχει. Σου εδώ πέρα δείχνει τοίχο. Εδώ δεν έχει τοίχο. Δείτε! Το βλέπετε!
the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Μισό, εδώ πέρα είχα έναν διάδρομο, πού τον πήγατε? Λέει ο διάδρομο, τι το φέρν? Την εικόνα, το φυτό. Η πρασινάδα στον διάδρομο. Αυτό? Οκ, το κοίταξα. Αϊφτέρι είναι. Ωραίο είναι, κυρία φοιτητή. Μπορώ να έχω την μουσική μου πίσω. Ταν, ταράρα,
Wait,
τάρα.
what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
Τα έχεις κάνει μαντάρα. Καταλαβαίνω ότι σε τάραξα που δεν ακολουθούσα αυτά που μου έλεγες.
No.
Ξανά ήρθαμε εδώ.
Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it.
Τι ρόλο βαράει?
Restart.
Line πάλι. Ωραία. Γιατί
You know
ξαναέχουμε
what,
για...
Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're
Ακριβώς,
intelligent
συμφωνώ.
people, right?
Ακριβώς.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something
Συμφωνώ.
exciting, daring, mysterious.
Δεν μπορώ να τα βάζω με
This all
δύο
sounds perfectly
ταυτόχρονα
doable.
και με τη
Why
γραμμή
don't
να
we
πηγαίνω
simply
κόντρα
start
και σε σένα
wandering
να
in-
πηγαίνω
Well, I
κόντρα
don't know.
ταυτόχρονα.
How about this direction?
Συμφωνώ. Ξέρεις τι? Πάμε από εδώ.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you
Κάνω
want our
κύκλους.
story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Νιώθω ότι πρέπει να συνεργαστώ με τον αφηγητή γιατί η γραμμή μπαίνει στα σχέδιά μας και στα πλάνα μας. Εμπόδιο.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
Ωραία, ωραία.
How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Ήθελα αυτήν εγώ όμως. Γιατί είδα το κίτρινο κουτί και με τράβηξε να πάω εδώ και μου άνοιξες μόνο αυτήν. Τέλος πάντων, πάμε εδώ.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one
Μόνο
giant
17 λεπτά
ending?
παίζουμε.
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this,
Τον
this
παρέσυρα τον
thin
αφηγητή.
wall.
Γιατί ακολουθούσε τους
you
κανόνες και
consulted
πρέπει
me.
να πάμε εκεί να
Why don't
κάνουμε
I
το...
get to
Θα
decide?
σας πω,
Why
περιμένετε.
don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be
Loki,
treated
hi.
like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
Όχι,
I
όχι,
guess
όχι.
now we just wait.
Ναι,
You know,
μπράβο.
I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do...
Μας διακόψανε. Ήθελα να πω ότι ο αφηγητής ακολουθούσε τους δρόμους εκεί όλα όπως έπρεπε να τα πει. Θα πάμε εκεί, θα κάνουμε τον Αταλό. Και τον παρέσυρα. Και είπε και ότι όχι, δεν θα κάνω αυτό
All
που
of
λέει.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Τον παρέσυρα.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Μπορώ τώρα, αυτό που μπορώ να κάνω, είναι να ακολουθήσω όλα όσα λέει. Θέλουμε να ακολουθήσω όλα όσα λέει, που θα καταπιεστώ πάρα πολύ να το κάνω, ή να κάνω τα δικά μου, να συνεχίσω. Μπορώ να πάω ευθύ εκεί που πήρα το
This was
ασανσέρ.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
Όλα όσα
perfectly
λέει.
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Εδώ κατεβήκαμε
And so
κάτω.
he detoured through the
Δεν θα
maintenance
πάω
section,
κάτω.
walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Από εδώ είναι η πόρτα που πάμε αριστερά λογικά. Οκ.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Τι ωραία που είναι.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Θα πάω κάτω.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever
Νομίζω ότι
he
με
went?
έκλεισες εσύ.
And for that
αφηγητή.
matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself,
Το
this is
χρειάζομαι για
all
κάπου.
too strange. This
Θα το
can't be
βγάλω
real.
φωτογραφία.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't
What did
found
it
the
say?
words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Πλάκα
He imagined
κάνεις!
himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun,
τι ωραίο
and Stanley
παιχνίδι είναι
marveled
αυτό!
that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my
Λες να στο γραφείο εδώ πέρα και να ανοίξουμε καμιά πόρτα και
And
να
while he
τον
thought it
δούμε.
all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one.
Είναι όντως όνειρο.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Restart. Όχι.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Restart.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Τι?
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town
Stanley.
talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Συγγνώμη, και πότε τελειώνει όταν κάνεις όλα τα endings? Λογικά ναι. Δεν ξέρω.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content? Αυτή η πόρτα δεν υπήρχε εδώ. Outplayed! Hi!
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Δεν έχω ιδέα. Δεν έχω δει καν όλο το original content. Πού πάμε? Ρε, τι παίζουμε?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Δεν κοίταγα στο τρενάκι μου αν μπορούσα να πηδήξω. Α, δεν πηδάει. Να βγω όπως στην γέφυρα εκείνη.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken?
Έλα μου ντε.
What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Πηδάμε! Lurking Ghost, hi!
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Δεν μπορώ άλλο. Μόνο εκεί στον κύκλο. Τι?
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Δεν καταλαβαίνω τίποτα, αλλά μου αρέσει. Είναι τρέλα.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game?
Όχι, δεν έχει τίποτα άλλο, όντως.
What the Stanley Parable is really about.
Περίμενε, θα έχει κι άλλο
No
φρέφη.
frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Okay. Αφηγητή, βλέπεις ότι βλέπω? Έχουν αλλάξει τα πράγματα.
Psst. Stanley, Come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Ναι, αλλά κανονικά είπαμε να μην ακούω τον αφηγητή, αλλά τώρα ψήθηκα. Μου είπε ψστ.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Ρε, τι ωραίο που είναι. Μπορώ να πάω εδώ? Όχι.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
Πραγματικά.
Did you hear that, Stanley?
Ναι.
Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk.
Ερώτηση. Αυτό που είχε βγει τότε είναι το ίδιο με αυτό που παίζουμε και είναι σαν remaster? Είναι τελείως διαφορετικό του 13. Έχω την εντύπωση ότι είναι το ίδιο, και αυτό έχει extra content. Κάτω τι έχει? Δεν ανοίγει εδώ. Πιο εμπλουτισμένο, ωραία, εντάξει.
Here's another moving passage, this time from Games.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Έχει κάποιους τερματισμούς που δεν τους έχει τώρα. Πρέπει να το παίξω τότε. Συγγνώμη, αλλά δεν μπορώ να περάσω εκεί. Από εκεί μήπως ήρθα? Όχι, από εδώ ήρθα.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Για να δούμε.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny?
Unfunny,
Trying to
όντως.
be funny? I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Ρε. Αν πας από την απλή διαδρομή που σου λέει ο σχολιαστής, σου λέει για αυτούς τους τερματισμούς που αφαίρεσαν. Α, οπότε θα τους μάθουμε.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Όχι, μην τον ακούς,
Tell me
μωρέ.
if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. This is actually quite shocking for me.
Δεν ξέρει τι
To be
λέει.
honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Με τις αντίστοιχες τα reviews μου
Like I let these
στεναχωρούν
people
τον
down.
αφηγητή. Μόνο εγώ θέλω να
Perhaps
τον
the
ταράσω τον
Stanley
αφηγητή.
Parable isn't quite as sterling as I ought. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Τι skip, δεν θα υπήρχε
skip
gay μετά. Τι
Well,
λέει.
yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then
Όχι, δεν
maybe
θέλουμε.
letting you skip
Οδυσσέα,
ahead
hi,
for
hi,
just
hi.
a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Δεν το θέλουμε.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant
Αληθινά
droning
review
starts
είναι
to
αυτό.
bore you, with just the push of a button,
θέλω.
you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No
Όχι.
more listening to me
Δεν το
rambling on
ζήτησε
and on
κανείς,
and on.
ένας
No.
βλάκας το
The Stanley
ζήτησε.
Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up.
Αν δεν το
Here,
πατήσω,
we'll pretend that
τι
I've
θα
just
λέει?
begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah
Blah, 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 blah,
We've
blah,
eaten
blah.
too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday,
Φίλος αυτός,
here and
πολύ
there, forward and
φίλος
back,
μου.
and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it
Όλα
can't be
αυτά που
just
λέει
yet.
τώρα
No,
είναι πιο
no,
σημαντικά
until
από όλα αυτά τα
245.
γράμματα που
But the
βάζουν στα
logic of
games και σου λένε
elimination working
βλακίες και
backwards,
δεν έχει
the
τίποτα
deduction
νόημα.
therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly
Κούρβο, γαλό,
10,000
χαϊ,
years,
χαϊ.
until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only
ίδια.
thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say...
the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards. The deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made in fact make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe.
Λέει στην ουσία ότι στη ζωή έχει μεγαλύτερη σημασία σε τι θα πεις, όχι παρά σε τι θα πεις, ναι.
It is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've got me going back to manifesto. Well, there's sport. You really did catch me.
Είναι ένα παιχνίδι, δεν ξέρω να περιγράψω. Είναι φανταστικό, είναι το καλύτερο game ever.
The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial, something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
Ναι, αλλάχτηκα κάτι στο μενού και δεν μου πρότεινε τίποτα. Το game είναι αυτός ο αφηγητής και ξεκινήσαμε σε ένα γραφείο και μας έλεγε πήγαινε από εδώ, κάνε το ένα, κάνε το άλλο και έχεις την επιλογή να τον ακολουθήσεις ή να κάνεις του κεφαλιού σου ό,τι θέλεις. Και εγώ εννοείται έκανα του κεφαλιού μου, έκανα ακριβώς το αντίθετα. Και πάει έτσι. Πάμε από δωμάτιο στο δωμάτιο, μας λέει τα δικά του και είναι φανταστικό. Δεν ξέρω πώς να το περιγράψω.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated.
Sorry, μου πες να μην το πατήσω!
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer in my...
Μου είπες να μην το πατήσω, και το λιγορεύτηκα.
Oh my goodness, I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with.
Συγγνώμη, ήθελα να ακούσω τι λες, αλλά θέλω πιο πολύ να πατήσω skip.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track.
Δεν είναι λίγο reference στο έργο το κλικ, το έχετε δει. Με το τηλεκοντρόλ που έλεγχε τον χρόνο.
To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt...
Αφηγητή. Μίλα μου. Αφηγητή. Είμαι μόνη μου. Τι κάνει μπιμπί.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something.
Πάντως δίκαιο είχε για τα reviews. Είναι σαν αυτό που παίζουμε κάποιο game που βγήκε day one και γράφουν οι άλλοι το παιχνίδι είναι απέσιο! Αφήνουν 100 αρνητικά reviews επειδή εντάξει μπορεί να έχει κάποια bugs. Είναι day one. Τα bugs θα φτιαχτούν. Το game όμως θα του μείνουν τα bad reviews. Είναι το game καλό ή όχι? Δώσ' του μια ευκαιρία. Μην χτακώνεις ένα game που μπορεί να είναι πάρα πολύ καλό. Παίζεις day one προφανώς. Μπορεί να έχει θέματα. Αν θα παίξω άλλο game σήμερα, δεν νομίζω. Τον τρελάναμε ρε. Τον γονατίσαμε. Γύρισα, αφηγητή, γύρισα. Αφηγητή. Νερά ακούω. Οκ. Ο αφηγητής ζει. Αφηγητή, γύρισα! Μίλα μου! Τι έγινε, αφού είχε φώτα? Πού είναι τα φυτά? Πού είναι τα φυτά? Μισό, τι έγινε? Τι? Εξωγήινη. Ζόμπι ήρθε το τέλος του κόσμου. Ρε τι? Πού να πάω, δεν έχει τίποτα. Δεν μιλάει ο αφηγητής, την έκανε, τον θύμωσα, πραγματικά τον θύμωσα και... Πήγα να πω δεν ήταν αυτό το πλάνο μου, αλλά ήταν το πλάνο μου, αλλά ήθελα να συνεχίσει να μου μιλάει. Αφηγητή! Restart. Να, έτσι ξεκίνησε το game.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did
Και
it
πάμε
look
άλλη
like?
λούπα με άλλες
It was a
επιλογές.
computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
New content. Πάμε στο new content ή... Όχι, στο τέλος θα δω τι θα γίνει αν ακολουθήσω αυτά που μου λέει να κάνω. Δεν έχω ακολουθήσει αυτά που μου λέει. Θα πάω στο new content.
You noticed my sign. Yes,
Ναι.
I have something very exciting to show you.
Ναι. Αν εσύ σε σκύπαν θα συνέχιζες να μιλάς. Σίγουρα ναι. Σίγουρα ναι.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Δεν έχω τελειώσει ακόμα το game και θέλω να βγάλουν και 2 και 3 και 4. Τι θα κάνω να τελειώσω το game? Θα μου λείψει. Ήδη μου λείπει και ακόμα δεν έχει τελειώσει.
What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Και καλά εδώ πέρα για τους investors να τους παρουσιάζουν. Αυτό τι έγινε με αυτό! Δεν μάθαμε τίποτα τι έγινε με το φυτό που μου είπε να το παρατηρήσω και ότι είναι σημαντικό.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Εγώ ακόμα περιμένω να πεταχτεί κάποιο φάντασμα. Το πρώτο παιχνίδι που έχει αργήσει τόσο πολύ. Το jumpscare, πρώτον είχαμε jumpscare, τρόμαξα από μια πόρτα που έκλεισα στην μούρη μου. Και φάντασμα δεν νομίζω να πεταχτεί. Θα περιμένεις ώρα για να πεταχτεί φάντασμα.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Αυτό θα λέει το όνομά μου, το κουμπί. Τι άλλο έχουμε? Πού θα πάμε? Merch! The bell is all grown up. Το μόνο που κάψαμε. Δεν ξέρω πού να πρώτο πάω. Μου δίνονται πολλές επιλογές. Ωραία, θα πάμε εδώ. Θα πάμε στο κουμπί. Να δούμε. Να πάμε στο κουμπί. Όχι, θα πάμε εδώ. Θα πάμε εδώ.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
LTR, hi. Από εδώ θα πάω. Ωραία, δεν θα πάω από εδώ γιατί είναι κλειδωμένα. Δεν θα πάω ούτε εκεί γιατί θέλω να πάω με τη σειρά να μην χάσω τίποτα. Θα πάμε από εδώ, στο κουμπί. Greek drivers, hello, hi. Πάμε από εδώ.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Big too small, just right. Δεν ξέρω ποιο να πατήσω. Α, δεν πατιούνται. Νομίζω ότι έχω την επιλογή να πατήσω. Δεν έχω την επιλογή να πατήσω. Ήταν για να διαλέξουν αυτοί κουμπί. Okay.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Okay.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Θα ανοίξει καμιά πόρτα, όχι. Τέλειο, αυτό να το βάλετε στο 2, μας αρέσει. Ξαναπάτα το. Μπράβο, σωστά έτσι. Άμα δεν σκέφτομαι κάτι να μου το λέτε, θα το ξαναπατήσω. Μου είπε να φύγω, άρα θα μείνω και θα το πατήσω ξανά.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says, but no. Instead, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Jim.
Μου το πήρανε. Μου το πήρανε. Πάμε next.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Πάμε στο reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. It's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort in the face of crushing despair must already be sweeping through your head.
Hi, thank you για το
Can I say
break.
that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Thank you.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
Είμαστε με τον κουβά.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Πάμε εδώ.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration. Like balloons, but I'm undecided on get well someday and happy 12th birthday. Which would you go with?
Το game είναι ο φοιτητής. Ξεκίνησε, ήμασταν σε ένα γραφείο και μας έλεγε πήγαινε από εδώ, πήγαινε από εκεί και είχες την επιλογή να κάνεις αυτά που σου λέει ή να κάνεις ό,τι σου έρθει. Και εγώ έκανα ό,τι μου ήρθε και έτσι έχει... Δεν μπορώ να το εξηγήσω. Είναι ένα game από μόνο του. Είναι φανταστικό, είναι το καλύτερο game ever. Τι μου είπε εδώ πέρα?
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, Stepniece, it is.
Έχασες ωραίο σημείο κι εσύ. Έπρεπε να φας τα σάντουιτ σου μπροστά στην οθόνη. Ξαναπατιέται αυτό, όχι. Ξαναπατιέται κάτι άλλο, όχι. Ωραία.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No,
No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Τι θα γίνει με τον κουβά? Θα τον κουβαλάω μαζί μου τον κουβά τώρα? Συγγνώμη να μου κλείσαν το μάτι, εντάξει, δεν θα μπω ανάμεσα σε σένα και στα σάντουιτς, είναι η αλήθεια.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
No.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Okay. Okay. Πάμε εδώ. Λοιπόν, μήπως να πάμε εδώ στο τέλος, γιατί το φοβάμαι. Από εδώ λέει φεύγουμε. Δεν θέλουμε να φύγουμε. Ωραία, πάμε σε αυτό και βλέπουμε. Ελπίζω να μην χάσω τίποτα. Από εδώ. Τι έχει εδώ? Όχι, από εδώ βγήκαμε. Όχι, θα πάω πρώτα εδώ. Έχω τόσες επιλογές! Θα πάω πρώτα εδώ,
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident?
Well, I'm developing
technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Εγώ και ο κουβάς μου φεύγουμε.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Πάμε εδώ. Πάμε εδώ. Και ελπίζω να μην είναι restart εδώ. Ναι, αλλά υποστε το bucket έλεγε reassurance bucket. Νόμιζα θα μιλάει, θα κάνει θαράνι.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Hi, Christo. Don't do it for them. Ναι, αλλά πώς να αντισταθώ. Πώς να αντισταθώ. Πώς να αντισταθώ.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Nuh-uh.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
Παίζω το καλύτερο game ever.
On the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Nuh-uh.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Εσείς τι παίζατε?
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Άντε. Άντε έστω. Έχει τίποτα άλλο εδώ γύρω-γύρω? Δεν μπορούμε να πάμε κάτω? Όχι. Πέσε πάλι, γιατί? Γιατί? Τι μπορώ να κάνω? Jump again. Γιατί?
Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
Γιατί να μην πάω? Να πάω ή να μην πάω?
I'm positively thrilled.
Γιατί να μην
I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about. And I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Θέλω να ξανά... Θέλω να δω πάλι τι θα γίνει.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay.
Είναι λούπα, όλο το game είναι λούπα.
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite.
Αυτό, μικραίνει.
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Okay.
Well, there it is. The shame of my lies. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Δεν δουλεύει.
Is the, teleport button not working?
Ναι, δεν δουλεύει. Γιατί θα με βγάλεις.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
Δεν δουλεύει. Παγιδεύτηκα.
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Γύρνα πίσω! Chat. Αφηγητή! Οκ, κάτι γίνεται. Είναι σανσέρ. Πώς έχουμε πιει 4 ούζα, 5 μπύρες. Teleport. Ξανακατεβαίνουμε. Εμείς είμαστε αυτός. Καλά που μου είπατε να ξαναγυρίσω. Αλλάζω μουσική. Δεν μ' αρέσει αυτή η μουσική. Μισό, θέλω να βάλω μια ωραία μουσική. Το πρώτο μου άρεσε. Τουν, τουν, τουν. Τουρου, τουρουν, τουν. Όχι. Βάλε μου το πρώτο τραγούδι, please. Τι παιχνάρα είναι αυτή. Θέλω το πρώτο τραγούδι. Τέλος πάντων. Πάπης, διάστημα. Θέλω τα Πάπης πίσω νομίζω και θέλω το πρώτο τραγούδι που έπαιξε. Φτάνουμε στα σκυλιά. Ανάποδα. Να το τραγούδι μας, αυτό δεν είναι το πρώτο του ή όχι. Thanks και για τα follow, Greek Driver. Thank you. Ωχ, σκυλάκια! Ρε, πού το τραγούδι το πρώτο?
Stanley!
Έπαιζα, ήθελα κι
άλλο! It seems you had sort of
άλλο!
dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't do that, Stanley. Because this hole is just so darn
Νομίζω θα αρχίσουν τα κεφαλικά μου κύτταρα να καίγονται σιγά σιγά. Καλό είναι αυτό.
You don't want to miss a single moment.
Πάρη!
Hi! If I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused
να
on
με
the
αφήσεις εσύ και εγώ πέρναγα πάρα πολύ ωραία.
From the looks of things, you and I will have many years here in this hole. And I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Okay. Μπορώ να ξαναπαίξω? Μπορώ να ξανακάνω αυτό που έκανα? Όχι. Τι? Μη μου πεις. Με ξαναέβγαλε εδώ.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Τον κουβά τον κάνω κάτι, ξέρετε. Θα είμαι μόνιμα με τον κουβά. Δεν ξαναπάω στην τρύπα, έτσι δεν είναι? Να τον αφήσω μήπως τον κουβά. Όχι, δεν μπορώ. Άρα θα είμαι μόνο με τον κουβά. Ξέρεις τι? Εντάξει. Δεν πειράζει. Θα είμαι μόνο με τον κουβά. Είμαι σε μια κατάσταση που πίνω μόντσο, νιστάζω. Δεν μπορώ να κοιμηθώ και ζεσταίνομαι. Οπότε τα εγκεφαλικά μου κύτταρα αυτή τη στιγμή έχουν πάρει ρεπό. Όπως τα λες, σε καταλαβαίνω. Έχεις, όχι δεν πάμε και όπως τα λες. Βέβαια, ζηλεύω που πίνεις Monster, γιατί θα ήθελα εγώ ένα Red Bull. Είναι η αλήθεια. Τι είναι εδώ?
Collectibles.
Και εγώ χορεπώ επιτέλους άσχετο, έτσι. Να ξεκουραστείτε να περάσετε καλά στα ρεπό σας και στις άδειες.
And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Okay. Και λέει και δεν παίρνεις τίποτα, λέει. Ωραίος. Πού είναι τα υπόλοιπα? Δεν πάει εδώ. Δείγμα ήταν αυτό.
When you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Δεν θα συμφωνήσω. Νομίζω το είδαμε όλα, ώρα να φύγουμε.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to
Νομίζω
move
τα
on
είδαμε
now?
όλα. Νομίζω τα είδαμε όλα εδώ.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Yay.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Είδα το βίντεο με το sleep paralysis, πέθανα με τον θάνατο, ακόμα κλαίω. Καλά, χθες τα είδα όλα.
This isn't a coherent
Το
video
χώρο
game
να
at
το
all. It's a
χθεσινό
lot
ήταν
of
από τα
gags.
χειρότερα,
And I
δηλαδή
do very
καλύτερα.
much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Τι?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Έτσι ξεκίνησε το ένα. Αυτό που παίζουμε και τώρα και καλά παίζουμε το 2. Αλλά το ένα παίζουμε, δεν υπάρχει 2.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay. Πάρε, δεν νομίζω ότι είναι στο πλάνο, αλλά δεν ξέρω. Μπορεί τώρα να το κάνω επίτηδες. Να βρω με security. Επίτηδες
game. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Λοιπόν, εμείς κάνουμε όλη την ώρα αυτά που δεν πρέπει να κάνουμε. Κάνουμε τα αντίθετα. Τώρα, να πάω από εδώ ή θα έχει τα ίδια.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay, τα ίδια από εδώ. Άρα θα γυρίσω.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Και εδώ πέρα πήγα κάτω.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ακούω χρυσόσκονη. Ρε, να πατάω τις πόρτες μου, δεν μπορώ να ανοίγω καμία πόρτα.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Ξεκίνησε όπως ξεκινήσαμε στο γραφείο και σου λέει αυτός πήγαινε στην τάδε πόρτα, κάνε το ένα, κάνε το άλλο και μπορείς να τον ακούς και να πηγαίνεις εκεί που σου λέει ή ας πούμε μου λέει πήγαινε στην αριστερή πόρτα, πήγαινα δεξιά, τσαντιζότανε και μου έλεγε διάφορα και μετά δεν τον άκουγα και πήγαινα εδώ άλλο ώρα και πεθαίνεις, ξαναξεκινάς και είναι λούπα και κάνεις άλλες επιλογές και βγαίνει άλλο story και αυτό. Δεν ξέρω πώς να το εξηγήσω, είναι πολύ παράξενο game για να το εξηγήσεις. Το commit grams Οκ, τίποτα άλλο όχι. Οπότε όπου ακούμε χρυσόσκονη έχει αγαλματάκια όπου ακούμε χρυσόσκονη. Είναι από τα game που και στο μυαλό σου, ακριβώς. Πάρει και εμείς που είμαστε από την αρχή δεν έχουμε καταλάβει ακόμα.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Τώρα στην ουσία ακολουθούμε την ιστορία όπως μας λέει αυτός που μας κάνουμε για πρώτη φορά αυτά που μας λέει να κάνουμε. Δεν έχει κάπου να κάνω τα δικά μου. Να στρίψω κάπου.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Τέλεια.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape, θα πάω από εδώ. Δεν θα σ' ακούσω.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Πάσε στο φωτεινό κουμπί γιατί δουλεύει και το άλλο, πιστεύεις? Next time θα πατήσω το άλλο, πώς και με πάει πάνω.
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Δεν θέλω, καλά είμαι εδώ.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Όντως. Α, όχι.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Θα περάσουμε και θα είμαστε μια χαρά. Όχι.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Αφηγητής στον αφηγητή.
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Δεν τα έχεις κάνει αυτά. Αυτά είναι το βασικό ending. Νόμιζα τα έχεις κάνει. Όχι, όχι. Γιατί δεν τον άκουγα και πήγαινα ανάποδα από εκεί που μου έλεγε. Δεν έχω κάνει το βασικό ending.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Κράσει τον αφηγητή. Μόλι μην τον κράσει τον αφηγητή. Μπορεί να του πάω εγώ τα νεύρα και να μην κάνω αυτά που μου λέει, αλλά είναι ο αφηγητής μας.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Τι είναι όλα αυτά? Μπορώ να πατήσω κάτι? Oh. Πιπ. Έχει κάτι πίσω από τις πόρτες. Μπα. Α, θα βρω πληροφορίες για παλιούς τερματισμούς. Office clock. Εν τω μεταξύ το φυτό που είπατε είναι σημαντικό. Ακόμα δεν το έχουμε χρησιμοποιήσει κάπου.
Probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible to you? He travelled upwards to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever.
Τι? Κουμπί! Ήθελα να το πατήσω! Άμα δεν σε κοιτάω θα ξαναβγείς. Είχε κουμπί και δεν το πάτησα. Έλα ρε. θα βγει. Δεν καταλαβαίνω. Συγκορδεύει το κουμπί, μάλλον. Ελένη, ερώτηση, ένα demo, μισό. Τι? Με ένα παιδί που μετακόμισε με τη μάνα του σε ένα σπίτι μέσα είχε μία κούκλα. Ναι, το Μπαπτίστε. Ναι, το έχω παίξει. Αλλά δεν έχει βγει, όχι. Τι είναι αυτό? Ωραία, δεν ξέρω τι είναι αυτό. Αυτό δεν ξέρω αν πατιέται. Το Μπαπτίστε δεν έχει βγει. Θα το παίξουμε με το που βγει κατευθείαν. Το πρώτο Σάββατο.
How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Μην πας ακόμα εδώ, πήγα.
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Σιγά, εδώ δεν άκουσα τον άλλον που ήταν πιο συμπαθητικός. Νομίζεις εσένα δεν θα... Είχε κι άλλο να δω γύρω. Θα ξαναπάμε. Δεν είναι πρόβλημα.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Λοιπόν,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Όχι. Πήγα να πω ότι θα ακούω αυτά που μου λέει, να δούμε το κανονικό έντυπο.
Lonely bucket, lonely.
Αξίζει να ξαναπάω.
And Stanley-less. Such a sad fate for a bucket. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Αν δεν τα μάζεψα και όλα αυτά. Καληνύχτα, Greek drivers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Μαθαίνω πράγματα και πιο παλιά. Αυτό το πήραμε, έτσι, ναι. Το restart δεν είναι ποτέ restart. Ναι, όχι, αυτό το έχω καταλάβει ότι δεν είναι ποτέ restart. Το κωδικό τον θυμόμαστε.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Να μου κάνει επικρέλυψη ένα game, το χατήρι μου. Δεν έχει τίποτα εδώ στα σκοτάδια, Α, το πάνω δεν δουλεύει. Με το 8 γίνεται κάτι άλλο, αλλά το θέμα για την επόμενη. Οκ.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Να πάω εδώ. Όχι, θα πάω μετά.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Για να δούμε.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ναι, αλλά εκεί κάτι είχε, κάτι νούμερα. Αυτό τι είναι? Κάτι είναι αυτό. Α, έχει και εκεί. Πώς πάω εκεί? Ένα, δύο, έχει σημασία αυτό που κάνω. Όχι. Ευχαριστώ πολύ για την παρέα και σήμερα, αλλά it's time for me to go. Καληνύχτα, καλή συνέχεια. Bye bye, Πίτσι. Bye bye bye. Bye bye. Ο αφηγητής μου είπε να το κλείσω.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional circumstances. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Ωραία, κάτι μπορούσα να κάνω και δεν ξέρω τι. Θα ξαναπάω.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They... Stanley, pick up the bucket.
Spoil. Thief, hello. Πού είναι το bucket?
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Καλέ. Δεν ήτανε spoil, καλέ. Είπε δεν θα σου σποιλάρω. Πού είναι το bucket? Τι είσαι εσύ? Ρε! Το bucket μπροστά στα μούτρα μου ήταν. Το bucket μου! Τι παιχνίδι είναι? Το παιχνίδι είναι φανταστικό, από τα καλύτερα games που έχω παίξει ποτέ.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Πάμε τον κουβά μας. Αγκαλιά. Να πάω τι μπορούσα να κάνεις. Βασικά, ναι. Πες μου τι μπορούσα να κάνω εκεί για να το... Αν και λέω να μην πάω τώρα εκεί. Λέω, να πάω...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Κάτω έχουμε πάει. Όχι, πάνω, καλά πάμε. Τίποτα, απολύτως τίποτα. Δεν μπορούσα να κάνω κάτι, αλήθεια. Και είχε... Και τα τρόλς είχαν τζάμπα τα κουμπιά εκεί πέρα, έτσι. Για να σε κάνουν να ψάχνεις.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Καληνύχτα, Χρήστο. Αν δεν μπορείς να κοιμηθείς, σε περιμένουμε. Αν και δεν ξέρω αν έχει μείνει πολύ ακόμα. Δυστυχώς το game μου λείπει και ακόμα δεν το τελείωσα. Θα μου λείψει. Πόσο μου αρέσει που είμαι με τον κουβά και περπατάμε παρέα.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Το Game Thief είναι ένα από τα καλύτερα games που έχω παίξει ποτέ στην ζωή μου. Είναι φανταστικό game.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Να δω τι έχουμε αφήσει εδώ πέρα. Ναι, πάμε να δούμε τι έχουμε αφήσει πριν κάνουμε οτιδήποτε άλλο. Έλα.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Πάμε να δούμε. Με έκαψε, είναι πανέξυπνο και φοβερό χιούμορ.
Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Για τον Λου το λες, για τον voice actor δεν ξέρω αν είναι ο ίδιος, αλλά είναι ίδιο concept. Από εδώ θα πήραν την ιδέα και θα τον βάλανε στον Λου τον αφηγητή. Εγώ νιώθω σαν τον Stanley στον τερματισμό όταν κατεβαίνει τα σκαλιά.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Πήγαμε δεξί χέρι στον τοίχο πριν, τώρα πάμε αριστερό χέρι στον τοίχο. Να δούμε τι έχει από εδώ.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life? No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
περπατάω εδώ. Τι...
But there is something we can do.
Bye bye,
something
buddy.
we can do together, you and I, that will
Bye, bye,
right
bye.
this terrible wrong.
Καλή ξεκούραση, bye bye.
Let Stanley
Δεν έπρεπε να το πατήσω
Let
αυτό
him
πάλι,
be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game.
Έτσι δεν είναι.
Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Ναι, νομίζω ότι δεν έπρεπε να το πατήσω αυτό. Δεν έπρεπε. Έπρεπε, όλα πρέπει να τα πατήσω.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Δεν έχουμε βρει και τα γαλματάκια όλα. Αυτό μου λέγατε closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Όπως το λες, με κάνεις να θέλω να μείνω εδώ. Να κλείσω και την πόρτα.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here.
Γιατί μου δίνει ευχαρίστηση το να κάνω το αντίθετο από αυτό που μου λες. Αγαπημένη μου αφηγητή.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Τι κρύβεις. Τι κρύβεις. Ή όχι δεν θα είναι τίποτα. Και θα κάθομαι εδώ.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Δεν θα με αναγκάσεις να βγω, δεν θα με κάνεις να βγω.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Πόσο σήμερα με έχεις πάρα πολύ καλά. Αν εξαιρέσεις ότι δεν έχω κοιμηθεί σχεδόν καθόλου. Κατά τα άλλα όμως είμαι πάρα πολύ καλά και παίζω ένα φανταστικό game, το έχω καταευχαριστηθεί. Γιατί δεν έχουν βγάλει κι άλλο, δεν βγαίνω από εδώ. Θέλω να δω το broom closet τέτοιο ending, θέλω να δω. Σε λέει άσχημα. Δεν με πειράζει, δεν με πειράζει. Γιατί δεν έχουν βγάλει κι άλλο. Ίσως γιατί είναι φανταστικό και δεν μπορεί να υπάρξει καλύτερο. Μπορεί. Επίσης αυτός που το έχει φτιάξει θέλω να δω τι άλλο έχει κάνει, τι άλλα games έχει κάνει. Εγώ δεν βγαίνω από εδώ. Κάτι θα γίνει έτσι, είναι. Έχει ending, λέει. Broom closet ending. Θα μείνω εδώ. Θα εξερευνήσω, θα κοιτάξω, τι ωραία, τι καλά. Δώσε μου το broom closet ending. Έχει έτσι, δεν θα με αφήσει να κάθομαι πέρα. Δεν θα κοιμηθείς ποτέ γιατί δεν τελειώνει. Όχι, τελειώνει κάποια στιγμή. Κάποια στιγμή θα τελειώνει. Έχει βγάλει και άλλο dev, αλλά δεν ξέρω τι φάση είναι. Είναι ωραίο, αλλά βαρύ. Νομίζω θέλω να δω τι άλλο έχει κάνει αυτός ο dev. Σίγουρα θα τσεκάρω. Chat. Θα γίνει κάτι, έτσι δεν είναι? Που κάθομαι εδώ. Bye bye, Steve. Καληνύχτα. Δεν μας είπες και τα νέα σου, πώς είσαι. Τι κάνεις. Next time, next time. Bye bye. Έγινε το ending. Αλήθεια, αυτό ήτανε. Αυτό ήταν. Δεν θα γίνει τίποτα άλλο.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you too. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Την επόμενη φορά που θα περάσω από εδώ. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Πάμε. Τώρα θα πάμε εκεί με τα κουμπιά και θα πατήσω το off, έλεγε.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Να ανέβω πάλι στο ασανσέρ.
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
τίποτα. Με έφερε στο ίδιο
Here we
μέρος.
are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Έχει κι άλλα endings που δεν έχω δει. Θα τα δούμε.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Ρε τι λες? Δεν με αφήνει να πάω κάτω, αλλά πρέπει να πάω πρώτα εδώ.
Oh my God. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
Χαραστός, αν ξέρετε τι γίνεται. Α. Ταν, ταν, τα, ταν. Τα, 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 ταν, τα, ταν. Ταν, τα, ταν.
All right.
Okay.
I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley. Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Ωραία, θα ξαναπάμε πάνω, το ξέρετε, έτσι δεν είναι? Μάλλον δεν έχει άλλο σχολιασμό. Ναι, μάλλον δεν έχει άλλο σχολιασμό.
You know what?
Α, έχει!
I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. what you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you, which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Τι είναι εδώ?
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Oh. Δώστε μου μισό λεπτό, τρέχει μύτη μου. Μισό λεπτό! Μισό λεπτό! Μη πάτε πουθενά χωρίς εμένα, θέλω να τα δω όλα! Περιμένετε! Κάτι που δεν άκουσα, είπε τίποτα, είπε τίποτα, είπε τίποτα! Είπε τίποτα! Φαντάζομαι όχι. Να, ας πούμε, αυτό δεν το σκεφτόμουν να γυρίσω πίσω στο ασανσέρ. Bye-bye.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Τα άλλα δεν ανοίγουν.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Okay. Γεια σας! Γεια σας!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Θέλω να βγάλουν DLC, να ανοίγουν όλες οι πόρτες. Και να έχω κι άλλες επιλογές.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ναι. Να τους δοκιμάσω όλες. Μπορεί κάτι να ανοίγει. Μπορεί κάτι να ανοίγει.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Να μείνω ή να φύγω. Θα γίνει τίποτα. Bah.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Δεν ανοίγει. Τι! Συγγνώμη! Αυτό δεν άνοιγε πριν. Ανακαλύπτω πράγματα. Business strategy λέει. Πάμε πάνω. Λέει το όνομά μου, Stanley λέει. Εδώ θα φας καλό τρόλ, γιατί παίζουν ότι δεν τελειώνει το ασανσέρ. Δεν πάει πουθενά και το κάτω να πατήσω. Αλήθεια. Δεν πειράζει, ακούσουμε τώρα τραγουδάκι πάλι. Ταν, ταραν, τα, ταν. Ταν, τα, 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 ταν, 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 ταραραραν. Ταν, τα, ταν. Ταν, ταρα, τα, ταν, 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 ταραν, τα, ταν. Τα, 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 ταν, 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 ταν. Ανοίγει μόνο του, πρέπει να πατήσω εγώ. Να πω κάτι, θα έπρεπε όλα τα ασανσέρ να έχουν αυτή τη μουσικούλα για να μας φτιάχνει την διάθεση. Πας το πρωί στην δουλειά σου κουρασμένος, βρίζεις τα πάντα, λες πω δεν θέλω να πάω, ακούς το τραγουδάκι αυτό και λες α, τι ωραία.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Τι είναι αυτό, πόρτα που δεν ανοίγει. Θα δοκιμάζω πλέον όλες τις πόρτες. Ναι, μην ξαναπάω πάνω κάτω, λέω. Ή να πάω. Μπα, το κάναμε το πάνω κάτω.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ναι.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Όχι. Δεν ξέρω πώς.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I'm some bug.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would...
Όντως μας κάνανε τρομμυαλό τέτοιο, μας κάνανε mind control.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Νιώθω ότι αυτό είναι ψεύτικο, που θα μπούμε τώρα.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Δεν θέλουν να κάνουν mind control, αλλά σου δείχνουν πώς το κάνουν στα άλλα παιχνίδια, χωρίς να το καταλάβεις. Γιατί πήρα μόνο ένα achievement, έχω κάνει τόσα πράγματα. Ανοίγει καμιά άλλη πόρτα.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Δεν θέλω τον κουβά.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door.
Δεν έχει μείνει κάτι άλλο να κάνω, νομίζω. Τα έκανα όλα. Τελείωσε.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Τι έχει μείνει να κάνω? Δεν τα έχω ανακαλύψει. Σαν τι? Κάτω πήγα, νομίζω τα έχω κάνει όλα.
Here's the door, just go.
Ρε. Να κάνω escape που μην λιώσει ο τοίχος. Αυτό δεν μπορώ να επιδείξω.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Το κάψαμε. Αν πώς μπορώ να πάω να μην κάψω το μωρό να δω τι θα γίνει.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Επίσης πρέπει να το κάνεις για ώρα, να δεις στο YouTube. Κάτι έλεγε αυτός ότι πρέπει να παίζεις, λέει, 4 ώρες, κάτι έλεγε. Ο αφηγητής έτσι είπε.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Επίσης, αν έχεις παρατηρήσει, όταν περνάς από μία πόρτα, η πόρτα κλείνει πίσω σου. Στο γραφείο με το codepad. Έχουμε γραφείο με codepad. Αν είσαι γρήγορη, μπορείς να μπεις και να βγεις γρήγορα. Και να κλειστείς έξω από το γραφείο. Μετά μπορείς να γυρίσεις τέρμα πίσω και... Πού είναι αυτό που λες? Για ποιο γραφείο είναι αυτό?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Με τον κωδικό, εντάξει, με τον κωδικό όντως. Όπα, θα πάω από εδώ. Δεν το κατάλαβα. Για κάποιον λόγο. Το ξέχασα. Ότι βάζουμε κωδικό εκεί πέρα. Θα πάω πάλι από εδώ. Α, είπαμε εδώ δεν έχει τίποτα. Είναι οι αφηγητές, το έχουμε δει. Εδώ πέρα με τρολάρουν. Εκεί πέρα πήγαμε. Δεν ξέρω τι θέλει να πει ο ποιητής. Μάλλον ο ζωγράφος. Θέλει να είσαι γρήγορη σαν να μπεις ή σαν να βγεις. Θα το δοκιμάσω. Και είναι μόνο στο συγκεκριμένο δωμάτιο, μπορώ να το κάνω παντού. Αλλάζει. Γράφεις πάρα πολλά. Για να κάτσω να τα διαβάσω όλα. Τώρα. Όχι, πάω με την σειρά γιατί θα χαθώ. Δεξί χέρι στον τοίχο, δεξί χέρι στον τοίχο. Alien Base. Έχει πολλά διαφορετικά πράγματα το πρώτο του 13. Να το πάρω, αξίζει. Ή είναι πολύ ίδιο και δεν αξίζει. Με γύρισε πίσω. Παλιός τραυματισμός ήταν αυτός. Γιατί τον βγάλανε? Καλά, κάνανε λιγότερους τραυματισμούς. Είναι σοβαροί κι αυτοί. Έχεις κάποιες αλλαγές. Όπως το λες, είναι σαν να μου λες δεν αξίζει. Αντί να βάλουν παραπάνω, βγάλανε αυτοί. Τα είδαμε όλα εδώ, δεν έχει κάτι άλλο. Σατ. Μπορώ να πάω πίσω στο ασανσέρ. Με τι ήρθα εδώ πέρα? Από πού ήρθα? Από εδώ ήρθα. Μπορώ να γυρίσω πίσω? Όχι. Πώς βρέθηκα εδώ? Πώς μπορώ να μην πεθάνω τώρα εδώ πέρα? Να μην με κλείσουν οι τύχοι? Τι μπορώ να κάνω?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Α, κάνω quit the game, ναι, που μου το είπε αυτή, μπράβο, σωστά.
Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape.
Τι πατάω? Συγγνώμη, τι πατάω? Θα με βγάλει εντελώς από την αρχή εδώ.
And press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you...
Θα κάνω προπόνηση. Κλείνει η πόρτα αφού απομακρυνθώ πολύ.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Δεν ξέρω τι άλλο, νομίζω δεν έχει μείνει κάτι άλλο. Α, αυτό στο γραφείο στον boss πάμε, ναι καλέ. Αυτό στο γραφείο στον boss. Το έκλεισε για να μην μπορώ να πηγαίνω.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Α, όχι εδώ. Ωραία, που... Α, εδώ, ωραία, σωστά.
Here's the door.
Πίσω προς τα πού? Μπορώ να πάω που θέλω. Εδώ μου τα κλείσανε βέβαια. Θα πάρω τον κουβά. Να έχω έστω τον κουβά. Δεν έχω αφηγητή, θα έχω έστω κουβά. Ωχ, άνοιξε άλλη πόρτα! Πάμε. You're now leaving. Από εδώ τι έχει? Ανοίγεις εσύ? Μ' άρεσε που ήταν ο αφηγητής όμως και μας πήλαγε. Τώρα είμαστε μόνοι μας. Μοναξιά. Η κόκκινη πόρτα! Δεν βλέπω. Από εδώ. Από εδώ. Σιγά που θα άνοιγε. Φυγητή! Γύρνα πίσω, μας λείπεις! Πρέπει να κάνουν με AI την φωνή αυτού του αφηγητή να μπορεί να σου σχολιάζει όλα τα games. Ό,τι game παίζεις, να τον έχεις έτσι από πάνω να σχολιάζει. Έλα, σας έκανα ιδέα για app κάτι. Μην με ξεχάσετε όταν γίνετε πλούσιοι. Ευχαριστώ. Escape. Πάμε. Στο 760 δεν κοίταγα. Είμαστε στο 760 ή κάπου. Δεν ξέρω που βγήκα ή τι στο καλό. Εντάξει, οκ. Νόμιζα ότι έγιναν μαύρα, τελείωσε και πάμε την όπισαν για να βλέπω τι στο καλό. Πού πάμε? Είμαστε ερωτευμένοι με τον κουβά μας. Μάλλον. Αν δεν είχα πάρει τον κουβά μαζί μου... Θα έμπαινε εγώ αν δεν είχα πάρει τον κουβά. Έμπαινε εγώ και είχε τίποτα. Ρε! Πάω να πω εγώ.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Πού να πάρει?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
When
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Όχι τι. Απλά κάνει restart πάλι. Δεν δείχνει τίποτα.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
είναι
office.
διαφορετικό λες. Ωραία, ωραία. Τώρα θα μάθουμε. Έλα τώρα.
Here's the door.
Σε ξεγέλασα! Θα μας λείψεις βέβαια και πάλι. Αλλά για την ώρα σε ξεγέλασα. Τράζε completionist instinct. Όπως αρχίσεις πήγαινε αριστερά και βγες από το παράθυρο. Δεν μπόρεσα να το κάνω αυτό. Κάπως ανεβαίνω, υποτίθεται στο... Α, σώθηκε! Και δεν ξανάρχεται το κουβάς. Τι λες? Κάπως ανεβαίνω στις καρέκλες, αλλά δεν ξέρω πώς. Για να πάω στο παράθυρο. Πάμε εμείς τώρα. Πάμε να μπούμε σε αυτό. Πάντα το space δεν πηδάει. Θα το δοκιμάσω, αλλά δεν... Είναι σαν bug και εντωμεταξύ τώρα που θέλουμε να βρούμε το bug, το υποτιθέμενο, δεν μας αφήνει. Όταν δεν θέλουμε τα βρίσκουμε όλα. Τώρα το προσπάθησα, δεν... Θα το προσπαθήσω πάλι βέβαια. Τι γίνεται, φτάνουμε? Α, ναι. Το επόμενο είναι. Nice. Ήρθε η σειρά μας. Δεν είχε τίποτα. Δεν με έδειξε καν να μπαίνω μέσα. Τι στο καλό. Πού να πάρει.
All of his co-workers were
Τι σκάμ ήταν
gone.
αυτό.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Σε αυτήν και πάλι δεν ανεβαίνει. Δεν μπορώ να ανέβω. Δεν ξέρω πώς. Όχι εδώ το γωνιακό. Ποιο γωνιακό? Αυτό.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Δεν μπορώ να το πατήσω να το επιλέξω άλλο αυτό. Δεν μπορώ. Γύρνα πίσω, φοιτητή. Τι έγινε? Το ending με τα games το έκανε με τα games. Ποιο λες, με το μωρό? Α, ναι, μετά το μωρό με πάει σε κάτι και καλά στο ότι είμαστε Rocket League και το Firewatch, πώς λέγεται. Chat help. Με παράτησε και έφυγε. Ο αφηγητής με παράτησε και έφυγε. Πρέπει να πατήσω εγώ restart. Ο αφηγητής με παράτησε. Ποιος ξέρει, πατάω εγώ restart εδώ. Πιο πέρα δεν με αφήνει. Έχει invisible wall, δεν μπορώ να πάω δεξιά, δεν πάω. Αριστερά, μάλλον ανάποδα, ναι δεν πάει, πίσω δεν πάει, μέχρι εδώ είναι. Έχει και τραγούδι παλιά εδώ. Τώρα δεν έχει. Okay. Ναι, αλλά τώρα μπορώ να πάω
What could it mean?
και να πατήσω.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Γιατί δεν ανεβαίνει? Έλα, πριν ανεβήκαμε, μπορείς. Ανέβα! Ωραία, ανέβηκα.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Μάλλον δεν θα με βγάλει, Όχι. Άλλο ending που δεν έχω κάνει. Άλλο. Next.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Τι πόρτα είναι αυτή εκεί? Αυτό τι είναι? Πρέπει να κάνω restart και να έρχομαι να βάζω εδώ πέρα. Για να κάνω restart. Να κλείσω το γραφείο μου. Πώς?
All of his co-workers were...
Πώς?
Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Oh. Oh. Ο κουβάς πώς επέστρεψε? Αφού τον σώσαμε. Α, να κλείσω την πόρτα απλά. Πρέπει να βρω τους υπολογιστές, κάποιοι είναι... μου και αυτό το ροζ που πατάω. Θέλω να πάω εκεί. Ανοίγει εδώ, μήπως απλά ανοίγει εδώ. Όχι. Εντάξει, το φυτό που μου έλεγε δεν το χρησιμοποίησαμε πουθενά, έλεγε ότι είναι σημαντικό το φυτό. Δεν ήταν σημαντικό το φυτό τελικά.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The left door in the tutor's room, go up the staircase. The computer outside the bosses. Ωραία. Πάμε εκεί και μετά. Ωραία, ωραία, ωραία.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Να το. Και θα κάνω restart.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer
και του Stanley το
recall.
computer. Ωραία. Τι είναι αυτό? King Τούρας τέγγε και τους 4 μήνες. Τι παίζουμε? Παίζουμε Stanley Parable. Παιχνιδάρα, φανταστικό. Εκπληκτικό, υπέροχο. Δεν είναι το achievement. Δεν πάτησα jump. Πατάω κλικ εντωμεταξύ. Αριστερό. Πίπα, πούπα, πάπα. Μπορώ να τα πατήσω όλα για να τα κάνω μαύρα. Ό,τι πατάω γίνεται μαύρο το κουμπί. Όχι, ναι. Ναι, μου αρέσει να πατάω κουμπιά. Πρέπει να πατήσω όλα τα κουμπιά, τι πρέπει να κάνω? Πίπα, πούπα, πάπα, 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 που, πι, 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 που, πάπα, πάπα, πι, 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 πάπα, που, πάπα, πάπα, πάπα. Δεν προλαβαίνω. Δεν νομίζω να τα κάνω μαύρα. Να, αυτό δεν αλλάζει το χρώμα σου. Πόσες φορές θέλει? Α, ξανανάβουν. Νομίζω αυτό είναι. Πάμε πάλι restart δηλαδή. Τι θα γίνει κάτι? Η Heaven δεν ξέρω αν μοιάζει εδώ μεταξύ μας τώρα. Και κλείσει το γραφείο, ωραία.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Άλλο ending. Δεν έχουμε βρει και όλες τις φιγούρες. Μπορεί να πρέπει να ξαναπάμε στα ίδια σημεία που έχουμε πάει.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ανοίξτε μου να πάω, δεν βλέπω πόρτες ανοιχτές από εκεί. Μας έχει μείνει κάτι άλλο. Good Nick, hi, hello.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Έχουμε να κάνουμε κάτι άλλο που δεν έχουμε πάει, τι δεν έχουμε κάνει. Έχει κι άλλα. Τι μπορούμε να κάνουμε. Στην δεξιά τα έχω κάνει όλα, ήταν τα αγαπημένα μου τα δεξιά. Ήταν τα πρώτα που έκανε τα δεξιά.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Το μόνο που δεν έκανα, εδώ πολύ ειρωνεύεται. Αν κάτσω και αράξω τώρα. Μπα. Πριν άλλα έλεγε.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ναι, μπορώ.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Πήδηξε και σε αυτή τη γέφυρα. Αυτά ήταν τα πρώτα που έκανα.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Με τα figurines το φαντάστηκα.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Πού θα βρω τα figurines, μήπως κάτι έχει με αυτά.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines. And now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Με ειρωνεύετε! Χωρίς να επιδείξω πού. Από την πλατφόρμα. Ναι, το έκανα και χωρίς να επιδείξω την πλατφόρμα. Πήγα και όλο μπλε, πήγα όλο κόκκινο.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly.
Και εδώ πήγα πίσω στην μπλε.
Through the red door.
Με το τηλέφωνο, ναι. Το έκανα και εκείνα.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
Αν το κλείσω και το ξανανοίξω, αυτό που λες νομίζω ότι είναι για το new content, το βγάζει κατευθείαν. Στο ίδιο μέρος θα με πάει, φαντάζομαι, στους εξωγήινους.
What do we want?
Ναι.
What are we looking for? Here.
Εδώ έχει τίποτα άλλο. Μόνο τα κοιτάω.
It's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel...
Πάω να σπάσω τα πόδια μου πάλι.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no.
Πάω να σπάσω
Stay
τα
away from
πόδια
those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please.
Βασικά πάω να βγω αυτό που είπαμε. Και να πάλι το έχω ξαναπαίξει. Α, είμαστε και καλά στο 2 εντωμεταξύ, Δεν έχω μαζέψει όλα τα τέτοια, τα figurines όμως. Μήπως πρέπει να το μαζέψω πρώτα πριν το κάνω αυτό. Βγαίνω εντελώς. Achievements έχω 3 από 11. Τι εννοείς? Quit the game and then start it again. Ωραία, τι άλλο έχει? Click on door 435 times. Το 8, τι είναι? Έχει achievement που λέγεται 8. Test achievement please. Speedrun. Κάτι με τους πίνακες. Οκ, μπαίνουμε πάλι. Το ending, το δωμάτιο με όλα τα endings σε πίνακα. Κάτσε, δεν μου λέει κάτι αυτό. Η ώρα είναι 1:10. 1:10 πήγε ρε. Αν ήξερα, αλλά όχι θα ήθελα και πάλι να βάλω την ώρα. Τι ήμουνα? Next time you boot up the game, just set the clock to your favorite time. Οκ. Άρα θα βγούμε και θα ξαναμπούμε.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a
big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push.
Πάμε 4:30.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you want to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Ούτε αυτό που λες με το σαν... Ποια πόρτα? Που ήταν ένας κύκλος. Να κοιτά τον εαυτό του στο δωμάτιο.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Σε λες. Αν και δεν το κάνω για το achievement, το κάνω γιατί πιστεύω... Ποια πόρτα είπε? 417. Το κάνω που πας και ανοίξει. 417. 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Great! Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437, 437, 437, 437, 4... Εσύ ανοίγεις? Όχι. 4, 3... Πού είναι το 437? Χαθήκαμε.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415. Δεν τρολάει τόσο άσχημα.
Now, back to door number 437.
437.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine.
Okay. Πού είναι?
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
417. Πάμε.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
419. Από πού να ανέβω?
Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
416.
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Με τρολάρει.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Δεν ξέρω τι άλλο να κάνω στο game. Εδώ. Δεν θέλω να το κλείσω, αλλά δεν ξέρω τι άλλο. Το 8, τι είναι? Έχει ένα που λέει ότι μην παίξεις το game για 10 χρόνια, το παίρνεις μετά από 10 χρόνια. Τι? Δεν ξέρω. Δεν ξέρω τι άλλο μπορώ να κάνω, το έχω κάνει όλα. Αν έχετε να προτείνετε κάτι, παίρνω τον κουβά μου. Όχι, δεν θα τον πάρω, θα πάω μόνη μου.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open...
Begin again. Ωραία. Και 4-16.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Δεν κάνει κάτι. Ή στο γραφείο εννοείς. Όχι, δεν είναι εδώ. Δεν έχει μείνει κάτι. Δεν έμεινε τίποτα να κάνω.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Sad. Δεν ανοίγει καμία. Τίποτα άλλο. Α, δεν έχω βρει όλα τα κουκλάκια. Αυτό θα κάνω. Θέλω άλλα 3.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet.
Το κάναμε αυτό. Α, επειδή βγήκα από το game.
So he turned around and got coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then, different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Εκεί με τις οθόνες θα είναι. Πιστεύω.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Phone room. Πού είναι το phone room?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Μάτια ποιος δεν μπορεί να κοιμηθεί και θα βάλει να φάει μακαρόνια σε λίγο. Ξέρεις τι, και εγώ όταν δεν μπορώ να κοιμηθώ, σηκώνω με τρώω και μετά με παίρνει ο ύπνος. Οπότε μια χαρά, καλά κάνεις. Walk past the open door on the left.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit
ναι, το έκανα αυτό. Ναι,
το έκανα. Of emotion in his chest,
ναι, όλα αυτά τα ναύτα τα έκανα.
More free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never
Κάτσε μου και δεν το έβγαλα από την πρίζα. Το σήκωσα το
This question
τηλέφωνο
would
εκεί.
not go unanswered for long.
Θα πάω.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ψάχνω το τελευταίο αγαλματάκι. Σκέφτηκα μήπως είναι εδώ, αλλά μπα.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job. You did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job. You made it to the bottom of the mind control facility.
Θα με παραφήσει εδώ κάτω, έτσι δεν είναι? Θα πρέπει να φύγω μόνη μου. Θα με παραφήσει εδώ κάτω. Έτσι δεν είναι?
It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it. Good job, you did it.
Δεν έχει τίποτα εδώ κάτω,
You did it. Good job, 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 you did it.
Ναι. Τι είπαμε ότι έχω να κάνω τώρα? Α, ναι, θα πάω στο τηλέφωνο.
What could it mean?
Δεν το έβγαλα από την πρίζα.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had something. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no,
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nuh-uh. Πάμε κάτω.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Δεν ήταν έτσι πριν εδώ.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes. Not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Εγώ θα πάρω τον κουβά μου και θα κλειστώ εδώ πέρα. Όχι, όχι, οκ. Okay.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Μπορώ να ανέβω εδώ.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes. It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Να πάω στο τηλέφωνο χωρίς τον κουβά, θα πάω. Ναι.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Το φαντάστηκα.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Bye. Bye. Νομίζω μέχρι εδώ είμαι. Ίσως το κάνουμε και άλλα endings άλλη μέρα. Ναι, δεν μπορώ, νίσταξα.